Good evening. I'm Larry Ambrosino, the principal of sports. I want to welcome you to another one of our live Friday night telecasts. We hope that you all have had a good month. Boy, I thought it was going to be springtime by the time we're on, and old man winter is jumping in on us. We have what I hope will be an interesting show. I mean, I think it's going to be interesting. I hope you find it interesting tonight. We have a three-part show tonight. In the first part, we're going to talk to these two lovely ladies next to me, who I'll introduce in a minute, about a very important educational program on Staten Island and what you're doing to continue that program tomorrow, when I'll be making a fool of myself down Rabs Bowling on the Green. But that's okay. For charity, I never mind making a fool of myself. The second part is really going to be an inspirational segment. We have a young man, Anthony D'Alessandro, on, who really is an inspiration to a lot of young kids, and especially handicapped kids. He's going to be on. He's really kind of like the Jim Abbott of Staten Island baseball. And then, speaking of baseball, we're going to talk about baseball. Last segment, we have two of the legendary coaches, Tom Tierney from Tottenville, Bob Steele from McKee, young coach Mike Davino from Port Richmond, and a fellow who's umpired all the way up to Major League level, Tom O'Connor, who's the Dean of Staten Island Umpires. We're going to talk a little bit about baseball and what's going on. Hi, we're back. Hope you enjoyed that. Our good buddy, Dr. Al Acetola, Jr., as we say, we spare no expense on this show. We have one of the noted orthopedic surgeons working. He's in the control room tonight, and he put that piece together. I love to tell the story. His dad operated on my back 25 years ago and put me back together. And now he just operated on my brother's knee. And then when I was leaving tonight, my brother called me on the phone. He says, "Is the doc going to be on your show?" I said, "Spring for the office visit, you know." He said, but anyway, Dr. Al Acetola, that's a great tape that he did. This is something that I've been looking forward to for a long time. I've known a lot about this young man for a long time. Of course, his dad and I go way back, and his coach and I go way back, way back. When I should have brought the picture. Did you get the picture I sent you about Jeff Torborg and you at the clinic?
Yes.
Yeah. We're going to talk to a young man now who really, under any circumstances, is inspirational. And, you know, we hear a lot the last few years. Jim Abbott, Olympic pitcher, All-American, and now at the Angels. What an inspiration he's been to handicapped youngsters. But we have our own version of Jim Abbott going on Staten Island right now. Our guest for this next segment, seated to my left, is Tony D'Alessandro, who I mistakenly was calling Lenny D'Alessandro Jr. for about 2 hours. He's so nice he didn't tell me. Tony's a junior at Port Richmond, plays football and baseball, and we're going to get back to you in a minute because you're the guy we want to talk about. But I had to drag your father on here, see, because your father doesn't know, but I want to thank your father publicly. As many of you know, my friends know, and people have watched the show before, we have the Rocco Laurie Scholarship Game every year. 20 years ago, Rocco, young police officer, got killed. We set up a scholarship in his name. The school was named after him, and now we give $4,000 a year out in scholarship money. The outstanding student-athlete on Staten Island whose mother or father is or was a cop gets that scholarship. And the last couple of years, Lenny D'Alessandro and Larry Cummings, who Lenny beat at golf today. Larry, if you're watching, Lenny beat you at golf today. Lenny D'Alessandro and Larry Cummings, who were working with Rocco in the 9th Precinct when he got killed, have come aboard and just done such a tremendous job to give us a shot in the arm. And I want to thank you publicly, Lenny, for what you and Larry have done for the Rocco Laurie Scholarship Committee.
Thanks, Larry. It's a good cause.
Well, you know, you guys are great guys at pitching on. Detective Leonard D'Alessandro Sr. is with us tonight. And the gentleman next to him is a guy, I mean, I have a lot of fun with this guy. Actually, any of you who saw my cousin Vinny, you probably thought Mike Davino was in the movie. I just asked him, how's the guy from Brooklyn? He moved to Westfield, so he dresses like a yuppie now, all of a sudden. Anyway, Mike is the assistant principal of Port Richmond High School, was the former coach at College of Staten Island, and currently doing a great job with the baseball team at Port Richmond. And I know you had a game today and you ran around like a maniac, but you got here. Our good friend and Tony's coach, Mike Davino, is here with us tonight, too. So, gentlemen, I welcome you all. It's really a pleasure to have such three outstanding men, and I mean that in every sense of the word, with us tonight. But you're the guy we want to talk about. Now, you know, a lot of people have trouble talking about handicaps or dealing with them or coming to the realization that there is something different about a person. We talked about it a little bit before, and now when you were a kid, you said you were about 5 or 6 and you decided you wanted to play ball.
Yeah.
Did you have any problems at first, or?
At first I had a little problem, but soon as I got used to it, when time went on, now I have no problem at all. Nothing really.
What about, we were talking about, kids can be brutal. I mean, kids, grown men would like to tease each other, but kids, I remember when we were kids, there was a guy in the neighborhood, Charlie Boogerback, and he had polio when he was a kid, and he limped. And another kid who turned out to be a great pitcher, Louis Vigliotti. Yeah. His kid now is an outstanding ball player. Had a handicap, he had, I guess, polio or something when he was young. And they turned a lot of heads in those days, but they were really kind of exceptional, rather than the rule. Nowadays, with Jim Abbott out there, did you find that the going was a little bit easier?
Yeah, well, a lot of kids respected Jim Abbott, and they see that I had the same handicap. They respected me a little bit more. I worked with the New York Mets camp.
So you're working in camp now?
Yeah, to help all the little kids play baseball and teach them how to play. And they respected me. They don't give me any trouble or nothing. They're good kids.
Okay, hang on one second. We got an answer to that question. Hello, you're on the air.
Hiya, Larry. Charlie Grainsky. How are you?
Hi, how you doing?
Pretty good.
Working hard or what?
Salababa Magley.
Is that right?
That's it. September 25th to 56.
Uh-oh, I have to give you a chair.
Yep.
How's the government doing?
Pretty good.
All right, you keep those politicians going. This chair, Charlie, you can pick it up at Victory Sports.
Okay.
All right, it'll be down there, probably give me till Tuesday to get it there.
Okay.
Okay, nice talking to you.
Thank you. How you, Lenny?
Hi, how you doing, Charlie?
Okay. Good day.
All right, well, stay tuned now.
Yep, I am.
All right, thanks a lot. Okay, getting back to what you said, now you're working with other youngsters. I want to jump up to your dad for a minute now. When he started playing ball, you as a father, any fears, trepidations?
Like I tell you, I always had a fear that that coaches and managers, especially leagues, would put Tony aside because of his handicap. And Tony loved baseball. I mean, since he was 4 years old. I mean, you see a child watching cartoons, Tony watched Yankee game or the Mets or whatever. And
you can say Yankees on the show. Okay. I'm still a Yankee fan, even though I love Jeff.
And I always had that fear. But I tell you, Tony had some great coaches in Little League, Babe Ruth League, Mike Davino, and he had Billy Rogers Jr. in the Little League, which Billy took a lot of faith in Tony and picked him up, and it all turned out well. And as the questions to the boys on the team, I tell you, they all have support for Tony, and nobody would say that they wouldn't even know that he had a handicap. And it's funny, and Mike will vouch for me. Tony's well known on the island now, so kids are used to it. But if they go and play a high school, say in Brooklyn or New Jersey, when Tony gets up there on the mound, the whole team comes out and just watches him. And after the game, whether they win or lose, they'll go up to Tony, congratulate him. The coaches, a fine job, and people look up to him, which is nice. And kids with the same handicap come to his games ever since he was in Little Leagues. And the parents come up to me after the game and say, listen, your son has been great, and my son watches him, boys with the same kind of handicap, and he says, now my son wants to play ball, or my daughter wants to play ball. And that means a lot to me, and I think it means a lot to Tony, and my wife, Phyllis, has been very supportive of him. Yeah. Comes to every game, big avid baseball fan. Michael vouched for that. And it's good. And I enjoy to see a boy with a handicap or a girl with a handicap to come up to Tony and say, listen, you've been an inspiration to me.
Sure.
And it's great. I mean, it all pays.
Do you do much talking to young kids or little leagues and going around other than your job with the Mets camp, or?
Yeah, I go around to when I go watch other games, I go talk to little kids, and I go to different games, and yeah.
Have you ever thought maybe, I mean, this would be something that maybe Jim Abbott could do, and I want to get into your visit with him. And I don't know if he did it or not, but it would be a great thing, I think, if he could set up like a support network or even a club for kids who have different handicaps that are playing sports, and they could maybe a newsletter and highlight, hey, you know, out in New York, Tony D'Alessandro pitched a one-hitter, you know, or things like that. You know, that might be a project that could get started to really help reach a lot more kids out there who have similar problems or other problems. You know, had, you know, one leg short, the other, that kind of stuff. Tremendous kind of thing like that. Maybe a guy like Abbott would be the guy to start. What do you think about that, Mike? I want to get the coach involved over here.
Well, certainly it would be nice if we can get Jim Abbott, and maybe with all those connections that you have, the next time the Angels are in town, we can make a visit up there and see if we can't get something started with them. But certainly there's no question that if you can take someone of his notoriety and he can lend support to a movement like that, it'd be very supportive for a lot of kids who, because of some kind of a disability, may feel compelled to withdraw from participation, when in fact we should be giving them every opportunity to participate. Tony is living proof of the levels of success, certainly because Jim Abbott is already a professional. We don't know him from the time that he's grown up and as a kid, and the kids don't get a chance to really see that. But if he lends his name to a system like that, and I'm sure that there are some other kids running around like Tony, and if we can get them to get some publicity, maybe it'll work out good.
Well, maybe we could do something. I'll check with a couple of guys that I know. Maybe we can reach out to Abbott's agent, drop him a line, and that might be a nice thing to start. You know, get some. I'm sure the different handicapped organizations, you know, would be willing to do something like that, because it really could be inspirational to a lot of kids. Now, Mike, you've been coaching a long time on all different levels, semi-pro, college, high school. Is Tony the first kid that you ever had with this kind of a handicap?
Oh, without question, he's the first kid that I've ever had that...
How do you handle that as a coach? I mean, were you a little nervous, or...?
Well, I'll tell you the truth, Tony makes it real easy. Tony does not have a handicap, as far as we're concerned. As a matter of fact, what happened to us when Tony came to the program, I remember he tried out for third base. And if you ask him why, he said, because I want to, you know. And he did it.
Now that is mind-boggling. I mean, I think it's tough enough. I mean, I have trouble enough catching a ball and throwing it, and I think it's tremendous to watch you play like first or pitch. But third base, that's a tough.
Oh, he could
Plus,
play
you're
it.
left-handed.
Mm-hmm. Well, he could play it.
Wow.
And then his first game as a freshman, he pitched a no-hitter. So
Made
he
it
really
easy for the coach, right?
He really kind of set us off on the right track right away, and without belittling the situation at all, it's difficult for me to say, but when Tony's on the mound, I only see Tony the pitcher, and we worry about whether he's tiring or what's happening. And as Lenny mentioned, when we go to places, this year we played Elizabeth.
Ray Korn?
And Ray Korn, right?
Great guy, Ray Korn.
And Ray and I were reminiscing about his TM days and my
Cedric's
TM
qualities.
days, right?
Little people don't realize he pitched for Jack Minogan.
That's right. And he was just, Lenny was right, every one of those kids was up on the side and they were watching and they were just stunned. And the kids at Port Richmond, at least our team, we just see Tony, left-handed pitcher out there, and doing his job. And he made a great play in the game just to further enhance the image. But Tony makes it real easy on us because Tony D'Alessandro is Tony D'Alessandro, and that's all he is. He's a hard-nosed, dedicated baseball player. He's a great kid.
Well, the hard-nosed part, we know where he gets that from.
Yeah. And he comes out there, gives you full 100% every day, in, out, no questions asked.
You know, I remember my first experience with somebody who was handicapped playing ball. I was covering for the Staten Island Advance. It was the Staten Island Baseball Old Timers, the first game they ever played. And Tom Tanny, who's going to be on with us later, played in that game. As a matter of fact, he hit a tremendous home run, and they upped the age limit when they saw Tom flying around the bases. And the Philadelphia Hot Stovers had a big first baseman. And you never noticed until a guy got up at bat that they only had one hand. So I'm figuring, okay, this guy hit the ball. I mean, 350. I mean, every time he got up, he played for about 20. As a matter of fact, I played against him. He played so long that I got old enough to be on the Old Timers. I almost said play, but that's using the word that's a broad definition of what I do, with, right? Don't get smart, Mike, you know. and he still was playing against us, and with one hand. And I said, wow. And then, of course, when Jim Abbott came along, I said, gee, I knew a guy like that. Now, is hitting the most difficult thing for you?
It probably is. I'm not a bad hitter. I could just, I swing with one hand. I wouldn't say it's difficult,
Yeah.
but I can hit the ball like same as everybody else.
Well, now the Charlie Lau school of hitting and the Walt Reniak with the White Sox had, you let go with that upper hand. So now when you bat, which way would you bat?
I'm a righty, so I
So you
let go
bat
with the
righty,
upper
so
hand.
you got the low hand here, right?
Yeah.
So you're really kind of like almost right where they want you to be.
Exactly,
Yeah. So that it really isn't that much of a handicap when you think with most of the guys now when they swing, as soon as they make contact, they're letting go. It's this way, So keep your head down, right?
That's right. Head down.
Head to the
Chin,
ball, head to the
shoulder,
ball.
chin.
See, I know what to do. I just can't do it, that's all. But I think that's really tremendous. Now, I want to jump off. You also now, as your hero, Jim Abbott, did, you play football.
Right.
What position they got you playing?
Running back.
Running back, wow. You quick? You don't take after your father, huh? Are you going to play, you play varsity last year or JV?
Yeah, varsity.
Played varsity as a sophomore? A
No,
junior, you're a
junior.
junior now, right? Okay. Okay, we should have got Joe George on here too, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You have trouble at all? I mean, do you find guys trying to knock the ball out of your hands? Or?
No, not at all.
Really? Which you like better?
Baseball.
You like baseball better, huh? Yeah. What about continuing? You got any dreams, aspirations?
Hopefully I go to the major leagues.
Well, if you do make the major leagues, I know we'll have a newsletter. And I know a good guy to handle you, too. My next life, I'm going to be an agent. But no, that's tremendous. Yeah. And your dad, of course, is very supportive, right?
Yeah.
Now, you have an older brother who just played for Port Richmond, right?
Yeah.
He won the Rocco Laurie Award at Port Richmond last year, right?
Yeah.
That was Lenny.
Lenny, yeah, that's.
See, I got
that's
confused.
Lenny.
I got confused.
Yeah.
They want me to ask the second trivia question, if you can hang on for 1 second. The next trivia question, I have one I'm going to throw out later on. I'm going to ask all the coaches, Mike, when you're on, so we'll see how smart you guys are. Which active two major league players had their numbers retired by teams for which they no longer play? And there's an interesting tie-in with these two guys. Which active two major league players had their numbers retired by teams they're still active and they no longer play for? Okay, 727-1185. And if any of you guys out there have any questions for Lenny or Mike or Tony, please call in. We're just going to keep you on a couple more minutes, though. I just want to talk to you a little bit more. I'm just so impressed. I've heard your dad talk about you for a long time. And, your dad's probably like my mother was. See, my mother was a wonderful woman. God rest her soul. It's 12 years tomorrow that she passed away. And not a day goes by that I don't think about her. She would never praise me publicly, like to my face, like, she'd bust my chops every step of the way, right? And at her wake, she worked at Western Electric for 20-some-odd years, and at her wake, all the ladies from the office would come in, and they'd say, "Oh, you're the one with the 18-inch neck." And to my brother, "Oh, you're the one who was in Vietnam." They knew, they almost knew my sock size. So here, I don't know if your dad praises you at home or to your face. He probably says, "Go clean that room, you bum, take that garbage out here." But this man, he is the Tony D'Alessandro fan club. Your biggest fan right there. And I know that's got to mean a lot to you, and it's really got to be a big plus for you when you're out there.
Oh yeah, it is. He's there every game. He roots for me. My whole family's out there. And they root for me.
Well, I'm sure after tonight you got a lot more people rooting for you. I tell you, I'll be pulling for you. And I know also your dad and Mr. Davino, Coach Davino over there, you guys had did they make money at the Rocco Laurie game selling the pretzels and the hot dogs and all that stuff?
I'm sure they did.
Yeah, tremendous fathers club and parents club actually, which I'm glad to see. Just a whole rejuvenation at Port Richmond, an athletic program. When they open that new gym, by the way, next year, we played the last game in that gym. It was the Rocco Laurie game. Mr. Davino was supposed to play, but says he's getting old. We lost at the buzzer. Exciting.
With
You were
the
there.
foul.
Yeah. Exciting game. Well, if they called the foul, he wouldn't have taken the shot. There was no one-on-one. That was our strategy, to foul him, and I creamed him, and he still made a 60-foot shot.
Frankie G.
Unbelievable. But we talked to Mrs. Weber, who's doing a great job there, and we're going to open up dedicate that new gym, the Rockalori weight room, and play the first game ever in that new gym will be the Rockalori game in October.
That's great.
So your dad will be there, and Coach Davino will be playing, and we'll have a lot of fun. But I just want to thank you guys for coming on tonight. It was really sensational. Hold on, we got a call on line 5. Hello, you're on the air.
Hi, Tony.
Yes.
Yeah.
How many pitches do you throw?
In one game, I throw about 90 to 95 pitches.
I mean, how many, like
How many
curve?
different kind of pitches?
I throw 3 pitches: a fastball, curveball, and changeup.
Who told you how to throw a curveball?
Well, like my father said, Billy Rogers had helped me a lot, and he's the one that really taught me how to throw the curveball.
Well, his dad, Bill Rogers Sr., coached some great pitchers on Staten Island. Jackie Donovan, Jack Hurley, guys like that. Pete Weiso when he had Mid-Island Little League. And Billy's doing a great job. He's coaching at Moore now.
No, no, yeah.
So I'm sure that's coming back to haunt him every time you pitch against Moore, right? He probably tells you, forget what I taught you, forget what I taught you. But that's great. Easy with those curveballs, though. You know, I got a call today. They were asking me about a youngster who's, shall we name nameless, an outstanding young pitcher, and the word was he can't pitch anymore. And that's not exactly true. You know, he's been told to take it easy for a little while. But too many, and Torborg will tell you, and Gooden, and all the guys I talk to, easy on that breaking stuff while you're young, because so many arms, right, Coach? So many arms end up, you're what, 16 now?
16.
16, so that's not bad, you know, it's a good time. Matter of fact, Jeff's son was a left-handed catcher. So he was 16, he didn't let him pitch till his junior in high school, felt his arm wasn't strong enough. Well, we're going to wish you guys good luck, and Coach Davino is going to stay on with us. Lenny, thanks again for all the work you've done for the kids, and hold on, we got another question for you. All your fans are coming in now. Hello, you're on the air.
Yes, I would like to ask Tony a question.